absolute favorite prom wasn't even my prom at all. It was a prom I attended. It was a Lodi prom though. And I was actually a freshman in college and I came back for it. It was on a boat. It was awesome. It was on like a yacht or something that they rented to go out in the New York harbor, and I swear we hardly danced. We all stood outside on the balcony. It was awesome. It was like a cruise dinner dance. It was the most fabulous prom I had ever been to. My senior prom was good too, but that was just at a regular place. It wasn't on a boat. Boat was awesome.
Okay, my favorite prom would be back in 2003. That would be our senior year prom. Myself, Miss Chiara, Miss Oros, Miss Baldino from the middle school, us and 35 of our friends took a big party bus to the prom. Had an awesome time. Then we went directly down the shore on the bus to Point Pleasant Beach. We stayed the weekend down there. It was just a great memory. Lots of memories all in a short period of time, and definitely a life-lasting memory for us.
So senior year, I just didn't want to go to my prom, and at the time, maybe the senior members will remember, Miss Rosman was still around and she used to plan the prom, and her and my best friend, they tricked me into going. So he told me he paid for me, and I got all worked out. I'm like, oh, I have to pay for myself. So I went to Miss Rosman, I gave her the money, and I was like, give my friend the money back. And she was like, oh, he never gave it to me, but you're going. And she kept the money, so I ended up going, and I ended up having a blast. It was wonderful.
So I remember having a great prom. It was the Lodi High School prom, 2003. I can't remember where it was, which is probably terrible, but I remember it was a great time. And then I do remember, I guess they had like little small floating candles on our table, and I was out dancing on the dance floor, and one of my friends came over to me to let me know that our table was on fire. So I rushed back to the table. Apparently one of the candles, I guess, got knocked over and a napkin caught on fire. We took a glass of water and put it out, so it wasn't a big of a deal, but that was pretty eventful and kind of scary for a moment. And then I remember we took a party bus after to my friend's house down the shore, and that was basically it. It was a fun time.
Okay, hi, I'm Miss Fasulo. I'm here to tell you my tragically hilarious prom story. So I was wearing a lovely blue dress and I took my friend Dan to the prom. He was a year younger than me, so I was a junior, he was a sophomore. And the first thing I did was we ate dinner, and I bit into a cherry tomato and it sprayed down the front of my dress, so that was a good start. And then Dan was severely allergic to whatever hay or pollen was in the air at the time, and he accidentally mixed 2 different allergy medications together that made him sick to his stomach. So he spent the entire prom throwing up in the bathroom, and I sat by myself at the table. And I just remember the prom song was The Time of Your Life, that song from, Dirty Dancing. And everyone was dancing, and I was sitting by myself, just with my cherry tomato dress. So that was my prom. Good times.
My prom story is about my junior prom. I went with a boy named Brian Hans, who is now married with a baby, I think, but at the time stuck pencils up his nose in school and stuck pretzels up his nose at prom. Only danced with me once. I cried, and hashtag Brian Hans, what is he doing now? I did not go down the shore afterwards because I was a good girl. Senior prom, I didn't go. I went to Nantucket with my mom and my godmother. Life gets better after prom, but if you go, have fun. I'll be there as an adult.
I went to prom in 2007 with my best friend in high school. There was about 30 of us in a party bus. We took pictures beforehand, went to prom, had a great time, everyone was dancing. Then we took the party bus down the shore for the weekend at our friend's house, and we created a lot of memories. We had a good time.
I only went to my senior prom. My senior year, I asked a underclassman friend if she would go with me. So since she was an underclassman, I paid for the bid. Other things I remember about paying for the prom, I remember paying way too much for a tux and way too much for a limo because that's what all my friends wanted to do. So my biggest memory is spending a lot of money. And the event itself was nice. A tip for everybody is if you don't like what they're serving, say you're a vegetarian or say you can't eat that for some reason, they probably have something else and it may be better, because that's the main thing I remember. Other than that, the rest of the night was, fun. Hung out with my friends, went dancing, a lot of stuff that I spent a lot of money to do. And then the thing I remember most was after the prom, going to, I think we went to Fridays and hung out there. Some of my friends that went to the prom with me, and then some of my friends who didn't want to go to the prom. But the whole night's a nice experience. It's fun to get dressed up. It's fun to have fun. Just don't spend all your money.
Senior year, I was friends with Mr. Canizzaro's wife. We went to high school together, and I was asked to go to the Lodi prom, and I believe that I fixed you guys up.
Sure.
And Mr. Canizzaro asked my friend Katie, who is now his wife,
Yes.
to the prom. So Mr. Canizzaro and my date came to the Holy Angels prom, which is our high school, and they asked us to go to the Lodi prom. So we attended the Lodi prom in 1998.
It's been that long, I forgot. So we all went to prom, had a good time. It was nice.
I didn't have a good time.
Well,
I was not talking to my date. My date was not talking to me.
They were there together.
Mm-hmm.
They sat at the table together.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
That was it.
That was about it.
Yep.
I was obviously getting to know my new friend, who eventually becomes my wife.
Mm-hmm.
But starts, finishes, it all happens at prom.
And in addition to that, it continued because at your wedding, I was the maid of honor.
You
So
were.
it started at prom, continued to marriage, and I'm
your
also
date-
the godmother.
And your date was my best man.
Yeah, it's true.
Keeps going.
Best man, maid of honor.
And they still didn't talk to each other.
It's true.
Well, I don't think proms have changed much since I graduated from high school in 1971. It's pretty much the same thing. We still get all dressed up. We still went to the same types of venues that you do now. The Brooklyn Bridge, which was a very popular band at the time, played at our prom. And then after the prom, we went down the shore and spent the day in Seaside, just like a lot of you still do now.